What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo tonight. We got something a little bit different for you, fine nerds out there in the nerdosphere. Normally, we're here to talk to you about some like Marvel and DC or some other dumb comic books that only nerds read and totally not me. But tonight, we're going back to do some more anime. That's right. And for once, this is one that I have not seen. Well, I mean, watching along with the other two gentlemen, but I haven't seen it prior to, us deciding to watch it and talk about it. This is a newer anime, came out this year, and yeah, this is going to be fun to chat about tonight. But before we get into that, Keith, Dave, how are you gentlemen doing?
Well, you know what, Doug? I am tremendous. You know what? It's always nice when we got a little break from our usual shtick to watch a little anime and learn and, all this good stuff. It was funny today. I was at my son's field day, and one of the kids had JoJo's, it was a high school kid that was there helping, but had a JoJo's Tremendous Adventure shirt on or whatever. And I was like, I've never seen it, but I want to watch it. And we were talking, and I'm like, I still, between Cowboy Bebop and Death Note, I don't think I'll find anything better. And we agreed to disagree. But it's always good talking anime. Dave and I have opened, expanded our horizons, done the things we need to do, started watching anime for beginners, and now we're starting to be a little less than beginners. So it's exciting times. But Dave, how are you doing, sir?
Well, I am fan-freaking-tastic. It's so fan-freaking-tastic that I can't remember what I used to say when you asked me that question. So, yeah, I've watched both these episodes that we you realize they only have 8 episodes out so far.
13 in total, but yeah, only 8 out so far.
By the time we get, to the end of this, hopefully they're all out. You know what I mean?
Well, if you check our scheduling, check our streaming schedule, it's marked up. We watch 12, or we talk about 12 and 13 right after 13 comes out.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome. Nice lining that up, buddy.
Good job, Keith.
And it's just, so far, yeah, we're going to get into talking about it, and it's just, you can tell that the dude from Cowboy Bebop, you can tell that this is the same type of writing, and I love it. But we'll get to that in a minute. Doug, how you be?
Well, Dave, let me tell you, I am outstanding. I love the opportunity to chat about some cool stuff with you fine gentlemen. And, another thing that I think is interesting about this is not only do we got the mind from Cowboy Bebop, but we also have some folks that worked on John Wick, which I'm sure you can tell in watching the choreography in this anime. And, yeah, pretty good stuff. Can't wait to talk about it. So, you know what, Keith? I'm going to turn it over to you because I'm ready to jump in.
All right, let's talk Lazarus. We watched the first 2 episodes for tonight, which was Goodbye Cruel World and Life in the Fast Lane, which I don't know if you guys have noticed. Every title for the episodes are either songs, album titles, or like singles.
Sounds familiar, huh?
Yes, it certainly does.
So we got Pink Floyd there and the Eagles. I haven't seen any of the other.
No, Goodbye Cruel World is
titles.
Elvis Costello.
Goodbye Cruel World is also Pink Floyd.
But I think this is more. But we won't argue.
Is it specified that anywhere?
It does not. I just think because of the way the episode is laid out, I get more Elvis Costello out of it. But before we argue about that anymore, fellow nerd Doug, thank you for subscribing at Tier 1. 35 months. We are so happy to have you. We appreciate you. We love all of our fellow nerds, and we appreciate that you've been subscribed for that long. It helps our small little channel out tremendously. But, yes, and the only reason I say that is because when I clicked on the title in Wikipedia, it took me to the Elvis Costello page.
Ah.
Oh, so you did some Wikipedia research.
Well, I always look there and do other things. I don't just use Wikipedia. You got to do multiple sources. It's always good to go there and get some intro information.
Well, see, I got the best info because I've got a buddy that I talked to on the playground whose dad's brother's uncle's cousin worked at Cartoon Network about 10 years ago. So, I mean, he kind of knows.
Is that real? Or is that just is that like a Teddy Ruxpin type of story? Is that real? Did that really happen?
That's so when I was coming up as a youth, there was always that one kid who claimed that they had an uncle that worked at Nintendo or some crap, and it's like, look, I know, okay, if you're playing Legend of Zelda and you swing your sword after charging it 14 times against a rock, then you're gonna get a secret Easter egg, okay? My uncle works at Nintendo, I know.
My mom used to walk his dog, and she told him.
Right, right.
Well, Doug, I guess you can walk us through that then. Tell us what's going to happen.
Well, maybe we'll save that for the end. We'll tease the people a little bit. Let's talk episode 1 because it starts off. I want to call him Alex, but it's not Alex. Axel.
Backwards, yeah. Axel.
Yep. Is visited in prison by someone who claims to be a hitman and a lawyer. I thought that was whose name is Hirsch, we find out. Fills him in on the current situation. After disappearing without a trace 3 years ago, the genius neuroscientist Dr. Skinner has resurfaced an online video to reveal that his miracle painkiller, Hapna, will kill everyone who has taken it 3 years after the first dose.
Now, I got a little nitpicky about a few of the things here, and I get it that I'm digging too deep. So go ahead, get in the comments, tell me, Doug, you're overthinking it. I'm waiting for it. But when they are introducing this doctor and they're saying he invented a revolutionary painkiller, my first thought was, all right, well, that's I guess that's all well and good. You made a non-addictive painkiller, but if anyone knows like the bare minimum about medicine, killing pain is one thing, but it doesn't solve the underlying problem. Like if you've got a disease and you're covering up the pain, that doesn't stop the disease. So, when they were describing it as this, like it was creating a utopia and everybody is on this new painkiller. And I mean, they go a little bit deeper and say that other people are using it recreationally, which does make me wonder how it was non-addictive or, never had any side effects, and yet people were still able to use it recreationally. But whatever. So we've got this new painkiller. Then they go on to describe this.
Recreationally, that's not going to cause it to be habit forming.
Sure. But then they go on to describe this Dr. Skinner as, he's basically the next Einstein, which, again, I know I'm thinking about it too deep. Einstein was not a neuroscientist. He was a theoretical physicist, two different types of sciences. I get that it's shorthand for he's a genius, but come on. Okay, rant for now done.
And that is the conclusion of our episode. Doug nitpicks the shit out of an episode.
Well, no, I get it. He's pointing out it's like a difference between Bruce Banner and Tony Stark. They're both experts in different areas. That's right.
No, I mean, I get it. I just, when I'm watching something like this and they're like, it's a miracle drug, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to suspend belief for a little bit and let that play out.
That's honestly, I was hoping one of you would say it, because that's really what you have to do when you're watching this or any other sort of like, futuristic sort of cyberpunkish cartoon, anime, show, movie, whatever. I mean, even, what is it with Harrison Ford? Oh my God, what's the name? Blade Runner, thank you. Even with Blade Runner, you got to do a lot of suspension of disbelief. So I get that. I understand that. It was just, it kind of jumped out at me when I started watching these, and I'm just like, okay, come on, turn the brain off. Let's go enjoy the show.
You got to live in their world, man.
You do. You really do.
It's their world.
But that being said, I did think they dwelled a little bit long on his sort of backstory, when it would have probably been better to not give too much information about him at all. Just say, he was this brilliant, neuroscientist that invented this thing that just had all these crazy, help. I don't even know what to call it, but caused all these things. They kept talking.
That's what I'm, He seems to be um, an expert in many different fields. As I don't know if he sent in like this media to that was then broadcast on all the TV, or if he took over the airways. I don't know if they made that clear. But then he goes and he announces, and they're telling this prisoner, they're telling Axel in real time, well, haven't you heard? And that's when, we get this description. Oh, by the way, this drug that you've all been taking that's, making life better. Yeah, it's going to evolve, and in, 30 days or so, all of you are going to die. And that's because I hate humans. You all suck and the world is ending.
And I see, it was funny because I took it as he took over the airwaves, and I
And
was
that's
like,
what I
okay,
thought,
this
but
guy's turning out to
I
be
didn't
like
want to
this
assume.
Doctor Doom-esque supervillain that has all of these things. But
He
yeah,
can do everything.
yeah,
And
humans
the
are
guy at
terrible.
the White House podium too, he was right by saying this is the first time a medicine has ever mutated into something else
Mhm.
after a
Yes,
time
yes.
period. You're like,
Because yeah,
okay.
all the people are like, well, didn't the FDA look into it? And they're like, well, yeah, we did. We checked it. Um, you know, uh, but we've never seen anything that does anything like this before.
Yeah.
We
And it,
don't do trials for 3 years to see if anything
Right?
changes after 3 years. Especially, he was so smart he could hide things in there that people at the FDA aren't going to take the time to try to find out and look. But it was nice they were kind of getting on that guy. How could you let this happen? This is your department or whatever. But I mean, something like that, seemingly a miracle drug, people are gonna.
Well, now that was the part that I did not have to suspend my disbelief for. When, people are asking how the government let a bad thing happen, I'm like, oh, well, yeah, of course.
yeah.
I'm waiting
Well,
tomorrow for them to announce, oh, hey, it turns out you shouldn't have been doing this one thing you've been doing for the past 10 years. You're all going to have your legs amputated now or some nonsense.
Well, they go through that
I'd
all
be
the
like,
time.
yeah,
Eggs are terrible for you. You should eat eggs every day. Coffee's
right.
bad for you. You should have at least one cup of coffee a day. Bacon is terrible for you. It's still probably bad for you, but man, it tastes so good. You know,
it's
Right.
it's the candy of meat, man.
It's, yeah, oh, have you had candied bacon? Oh my God.
Oh
to
God, I'm sure it's the best thing on
Oh, it's
earth.
so good.
And it gets
but
silent.
he finishes basically his takeover of all networks, or soon that happened, by saying he has a cure, and so you have to find him if you want to save humanity. And I
Okay.
was
So he
like,
writes games.
yeah, I'm like, okay, this guy is terrible.
Right?
Yeah. How does that prove, if they find him, how does that prove that they're better than the people he said they were? Just because they can find him? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
So I did my own worse research. See, Keith went to Wikipedia, where there's probably a few more reputable sources. I went to Reddit, like the garbage goober I am. And it seems like the majority of the people that are talking about this on Reddit, they're mostly talking about how the translations weren't done properly. How some people were able to recover because it hasn't been released officially uh, yet, on Adult Swim and Max and everything like that, the subtitled version. So some people have watched the subtitled version. I guess some of the words just don't match up correctly. So people have been saying that in this case, the English dub is really worse because they either they did not take the proper time to translate things properly, or I don't know. I haven't watched it, so I can't verify how accurate these statements are. But I saw that repeated multiple times, people saying essentially the same thing.
Yeah, I watch it with the closed caption on myself. And yeah, there's a lot of the stuff that they actually speak that
Oh,
isn't
see, I
the
didn't think
same.
to do that. That's okay. Wow, really?
Yeah. It's not the same as the dialogue
All
on the
right.
screen, but they do say somewhere in the neighborhood of what it says.
Mm-hmm. They do have to wonder, like, this guy's ultimate plan is, okay, I am dooming, all of humanity by giving them this miracle drug that's actually going to, kill them. But also, I want to do this because, and he, they intersperse little, videos and things, info about him throughout the first episode, and I think a little bit in the second as well. But he's on stage. He complains about how the ice caps are going to be melting soon. Pollution is
He
at
said
an all-time
3 years
high.
too. I thought that was a nice. He's like in 3
Oh, yeah.
years, which I'm like, okay, timing
Right,
perfectly
right.
to the Hapna.
Yeah, so he's talking about all these things that are terrible, like, and he focuses on climate change and like all these other things that are wrong, and how, basically humanity has done this and they're doomed. So therefore, he feels that he's okay in dealing out this master plan of eliminating humanity. I think that's what we've seen so far, unless somebody finds him in this elaborate game of hide and seek.
Which I totally agree with Dave. I was like, okay, humanity is doomed and they're terrible, but if someone can find you in this hide and seek game, then you'll cure them
That
all.
fix anything?
Right. But you can still be evil and find him, so I don't understand.
Right.
Doesn't mean, yeah. Yeah, it
And all-
doesn't mean
And
you're
we see that
good.
there are a lot of different groups that are all looking for him. We end up finding that out in the second episode, which I'm not going to get into that right now. But yeah, there are a lot of people that obviously are going to be after him. Good guys, bad guys, didn't seem to matter. Everybody is trying to find this dude because, you know, the fact that they've found that this medication that he's released has this property to mutate, which they've never seen before, it seems more likely and easier to just simply find the guy who has the cure than try to develop a cure on their own.
Well, and the fact that it stays in your blood for that 3 years too. He's like, once you take it, it never comes out. I was like, okay, that's interesting. I know they won't get into the science of it because that would be extremely difficult to do. But once again, suspending belief a little bit, I was like, okay,
Right.
But Axel is not interested at all in helping this lady, and he uses that as another reason to escape from prison. And he's hopping around. He's going parkour, ninjutsu, gymkata, whatever the hell he was doing. He was just kicking everyone's butt and running around, and he eventually escapes. But the Lazarus team is on his tail. And, they're coordinating him into certain places and finding him, and at one point he's on the thing and he's like, yeah, I won't, you're such a wimp or whatever. And he's like, I'm not going to get into fisticuffs with you because there's no way out and I'm going to arrest you unless you can fly. And of course he jumps off into the birds and he's like, and he gets on.
Not arrest you. He did, because that guy's not a cop. That's Doug, and he seems to be the narrator of the show because they got to the end. Oh, I'll wait until we get to the end for that. This is we don't jump to the end.
We never
here,
have jumped to the end ever, never once.
So I'm not going to do that here.
He basically gets on their little drone, gets himself. I mean, he is like watching this. I'm like, he is like got some sort of mutant ability to do parkour perfectly because he's jumping around and making the right decisions everywhere. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. I like watching that stuff. And then he grabs it.
I am wondering, and again, maybe this isn't that type of anime. It could just be that he's that skilled and has these monkey-like acrobatic skills. But when they had announced that pretty much everybody had been taking it, my first thought was, oh, maybe it reacted differently with this guy for some reason. Maybe this is why he is, because there was a trailer that was on YouTube, and it does show a bunch of like monkeys in a tube. So I was putting two and two together, and I'm thinking, okay, well, he's got these sort of that allows him to jump and propel off of a wall and flip around. And when he like introduces himself, he does so by doing like a somersault off of the thing, to talk to the woman. I'm like, so, after they announced, like, oh yeah, he's taken it. I'm like, okay, all right, well, maybe this is why. Maybe this is why he's got all these abilities. A super drug is more than a painkiller if it's been able to evolve. Maybe it's done something to him. I don't know if that's going to be the case. Maybe, that's not really the direction they're going with this. It could be that he just has these parkour skills. But either way, I will say this: the choreography, every time they show him flipping around and jumping, and they show the dynamic camera movement as he's like hopping around the city and everything. It looked really cool. So I'll give him props on that. That was pretty slick.
It definitely
Well, if
was.
you're just talking about him doing that or the total overall animation, the overall animation is amazing. Oh,
I didn't think so.
See, I liked
really?
it too.
I
I
Yeah,
like
liked
it
it
really.
too.
when the
I
car's driving into the future. Oh man, I thought it was
eh,
great.
it didn't impress me. I mean, some of it looked all right, but the the bad CG was clashing with the 2D anime too much to me. So it was, I don't know. I think this is another instance of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It'll probably just have to grow on me, but it was too ugh to me. I didn't like it.
See, I enjoyed it too. I'm with Dave. I thought it looked really good. But we don't have to argue about that because I thought the funniest part in this whole episode to me, after he's avoiding everybody and knows always the right place, where to go and stuff, the blonde girl comes up to him and is like, "Oh, let's take a photo." And then she like some electric shock bracelet to incapacitate him. I'm like, it's always the pretty girls that get these guys. He was like, "All right, hey."
She got him right at like she knew that his ego is the key.
Yep.
And as soon as I say, "Oh, can I get a selfie with you?" all of a sudden he's, "Oh, well, yeah, okay, sure."
His axle sense was not going off, and it should have been blaring. But he wakes up in an abandoned barber shop where Hirsch talks to him via video chat, telling him that he has been selected to join her team, codename Lazarus. And then we start episode 2. Oh, then it says 29 days left.
Yes, I do like that they're doing that because they're adding a sense of urgency, right? They're letting you know, hey, just as a reminder, this is going to kill people, and it's a lot less time than you think. There's only 30 days left. We've got our team together, so now, throughout the course of this anime, 29 days left, you've got to find this guy or everybody dies.
And I
And the
do
thing I
love,
wanted to say about that Doug guy is he ended that show because we got the tech wizard girl who's
Hmm.
the what was Ned and
She's like
Spider-Man,
moving the screen and everything. Oh,
oh, the guy in the chair.
yeah,
the guy in the chair. So she's the girl in the chair and she's moving stuff around like Tony Stark on her
yeah.
screen. And all right, so they got that position filled. They got the wild card parkour guy. It was just a good, it was your lineup like you say in the
Like a heist.
in the thumbnail. Yeah, you put together the team.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
what they did. And I don't have anything against it. That's just what
So
happened.
here's where
And
they did it better. So they they didn't spend too long describing everybody's backstory, who they are, why they're doing this. They pretty much just they show you, which good. That's what you're supposed to do. Show, don't tell. So we're actually seeing this tech girl manipulate her screens, use her future technology, plug in the data, as she says. We see the one boy operating his drone. We see the one girl, using her like ability to read him and figure out like how best to get to him without using anything else. And so yeah, we're seeing what they're able to do. We're seeing all of their capabilities just in action in the episode, which I do appreciate. You don't have to do a pop-up with their name and who they are and all that other crap.
that's the thing I wanted to say about his monologuing at the end is that he gave a brief background. The one dude who had him on the roof
Hmm.
gave a brief background on each character when he was talking to the kid who Chris, I think his name is the one who jumped out of school.
Yeah.
Um, when he gave a brief background, but the one I thought was like overly monologuing is when he said, "She may be the wildest card of them all," and then just kind of hung there in the air, and I was like, "That's a little over the top."
A little corny. Okay.
Yeah, I wonder if that means something.
That may come into play later. We better keep
Yeah.
our eyes on it.
Yeah.
Wait
I
and
also like
see.
how they keep like intercutting between like this sort of David Letterman knockoff with, I assume, a Taylor Swift knockoff.
I did like that talk show
Yeah.
with the cheesy. Oh, I can't remember. I meant to write it down, but when she's like, "Well, what about this show?" Wah, wah. I was like, "Oh,
Nobody's
that's
gonna
awesome."
watch this. And oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So they're like, with your new album, See You Later Alligator.
Yeah,
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
in a
cringe.
wild
And then he's
crocodile.
like, Yeah, in a while, crocodile's like, that
I thought
hurts.
they
Okay.
perfectly captured what talk shows in America are
Right.
currently like.
That's what, I'm just like,
That's
oh
just
my God, that is so true to life.
that's some kooky anime humor that just mirrors real life.
It's like, I know, I'm just like, oh God, so this is supposed to be like 2046 and nothing has changed. Great. Can't wait.
Yep, you're not getting away from it, Doug. But
It's good to
episode
see that Taylor's still releasing albums.
yes, yes. And no one will ever hear that. But I have to think, because they said it's 3 years after you take it. So they may not find them within 30 days. It may be we start seeing people drop off the planet because when we were talking about him saying, the polar ice caps are going to be melted in 3 years, this may be his way of killing off a massive amount of people, knowing that, like I doubt 40 million people are going to die day one because not everyone took it day one. It was something that probably some people started taking, and then it's like, oh my God, this is really good. Word spread. Then the mass majority of people started taking it. So they have a little more than 30 days or 29 days, I think. But they do. The first person will die in 29 days. I can't imagine that a new drug hits the market and 40 million people took it day one. So it'll be interesting to see how they play that off. Like, he is seriously trying to use this to weed humans, as many humans as possible, off the planet, thinking that's going to help with global warming and
it's his
climate
Thanos
change.
plan.
Yes, exactly.
And yeah, you could be right. That's actually a pretty good theory. I like that maybe he's just waiting until he's got the number that he's looking for. He wants to kill off a certain amount, and then maybe once he does, he'll jump out of hiding. Be like, okay, surprise, killed enough. All right, here's the cure.
Man, I feel terrible I did this. Here's the cure, everybody. There's probably
Right.
nothing hidden in that, is there?
No.
The
Wait,
vaccine.
is this chocolate milk? Yeah. It was just chocolate milk the whole time. Yeah.
Did
I think
anyone-
Huey Lewis got his wish.
he did. He really did get his new drug.
And it did everything he described in the song. So it's great.
Yeah, they better use a Huey Lewis in the news song for one of these episode titles.
Perfect.
But we get on to episode 2, Life in the Fast Lane. Sure to make you lose your mind. But Axel, God, I keep calling. There's too many Alexes in my family. Axel discovers everyone on the Lazarus team, including himself, have gotten into trouble with law enforcement and are donning these tracking bracelets that will burn their hand off if they try to take it off or do anything else, which I thought was...
I'm convinced that there is something mentally unstable with Axel because when they're, when she's, one girl's asking him, like, so, I heard you were behind bars, what did you do? And when he says, oh yeah, I think my sentence is up to 888 years, which, beautiful number, by the way, love that, thank you. 880, she is like visibly, it reminded me, speaking of, Dave, you had mentioned that my thumbnail had a Rick and Morty reference. It reminded me of the Rick and Morty episode where they find out like what this cat did that's been following around Jerry this whole time, and even Rick is disgusted by like, oh no, Jerry, you don't want to know. And it's like she has this look of visible disgust, like, oh my God, 800 years. What did you do? Did you like genocide someone? And he's like, no. You don't understand. I just really like to break out of prison. And I'm just like, what? Wait, that's it? You had 3 years and you just really like to break. How many times have you done this?
He's
dude?
Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah, I was thinking of the math on that because every time they double your sentence, now does that mean, all right, so he had 3 years and then he broke out, so they doubled it to
So
6, and then they went to 12, and then they went to, man, that'd be a lot of math to do.
That's 24.
Yeah, thanks.
And then, the next number after that, which is
48.
Yeah, that I knew that. Which then, obviously becomes
96.
96.
yeah, that one.
And he got all the way up to 888, so I don't know how many transitions that is. But
Well, you got to think too. Maybe if he served some time, his sentence was only 2.5 years when he escaped, so it only went up to 5. and then he got it down to 4, and then doubled to 8, things like that. You don't know how this all works.
Right. We need more. We need the variables for this equation. We got.
Yes, I need an entire episode where he does the math to show us what the hell he did. Because how do you go from I don't even think he said what he got the original 3 years for.
He didn't.
It's just he was just like, yeah, I was in prison. I didn't want to be there, and then you know what? It's really fun. And he even says, yeah, it's a hobby of mine. I'm like, bro, you need a less destructive hobby because
Well, it don't matter anymore.
he's breaking out, but he keeps getting caught.
True.
He's actually Skinner. He came back in time.
Gave
himself youth serum.
So bad.
But Axel, this parkour genius, holds the one girl at gunpoint, demands that Hirsch removes his bracelet. She's like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that." He's like, "Okay, what are we doing now, boss?" I'm like, "He gave up pretty quickly."
Kind of go with the flow kind of guy.
He really is. But they decide that we're gonna find Dr. Skinner, and they find that he bought a survival bunker in the state of Arizona 8 years ago. So Axel and Chris head to the bunker while Doug and Leland go to the office of the company that he purchased it from. And Axel and Chris encounter a man just sitting in a chair before Mexican and Russian agents start firing on him, like Doug was talking about earlier. Everybody's looking for Skinner. It's not just Lazarus or the United States. Russia, Mexico. You got other people looking for people that owe people money, but we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, it is. You would think since every place in the world took this drug, they're all going to want to save their people and find
in the intro they even show the map, and it shows that everybody in the world. So yeah, of course, I do like that when the Russian guys are there. They're speaking and they're very clearly Russian accents, and X is like, "How do you know they're Russian?" I can see why you kept getting caught.
He's good at breaking out. He's not good at... it's his ego. He breaks out that he's like, "Man, they haven't found me yet. No one's... They stopped putting me on the news for escaping. I better get back on the news. I need to hear my name on TV again."
That is me.
But while they're fighting out these Mexican and Russian agents, Doug and Leland are held at gunpoint at the office, and we find out that they're looking for Kobayashi, who ran this survival place, the company that sells these survival bunkers or whatever. And he just actually owes a bunch of people money. And then to the surprise of nobody, we find out that's Kobayashi in Skinner's bunker that everyone's looking for. So it's not the right guy, because I did like that in typical tough guy action. It was almost 80s film. He punches him to get blood, to get a bloody nose, and then he takes the blood. Oh, okay, yep, the dude, he's not Skinner. Nope, we got...
That's actually a pretty cool device that we've got in the future, this Insta DNA reader.
And this guy's so smart, he can build, he created a drug that mutates in 3 years to kill everyone on the planet. I'm sure he couldn't fool a DNA machine. Definitely not him, you guys. Right. There's no way he changed his look and changed his DNA.
Oh yeah, I like how what's her name? She mentions maybe he got plastic surgery. Okay, you're gonna have to explain how your future plastic surgery there works, because come on now.
Wait until we get to the end of the episode. There's a twist there.
I did like that little twist at the end. But yeah, we find out that's Kobayashi, who's just trying to avoid his debtors. So, wild goose chase, nothing really comes of this bunker thing. But I think her name's Elena, says she discovered where Skinner is by using facial rec, what they had, Hirsch had put her on early in the episode, saying any camera you can get a hold of, put on facial rec and find him. But when she finds him, every face is being digitally altered to look like Skinner. I was like, once again, this guy is not just a neuroscientist genius. He's clearly everything genius. He is the Doctor Doom of anime villains. He's at least turning out to be that way. Yes. He knows technology. He knows magic. He knows neuroscience. Is there nothing this guy doesn't know?
You had me at magic. I think we're good there. He knows
Yeah.
magic. Oh, that explains everything, literally.
And
So
then
how did you
28
invent
days
this
left.
new non-addictive painkiller drug? I don't know, man. Magic. I'm really not that smart. I found a magic book.
It was easy. It was a quick spell. All I needed was
This thing it said grimoire. I opened it up. All of a sudden, I was flooded with this, aura and power, and I was like, "Hey, make a magic mutating pill."
I just want to help my society out and kill them in 3 years. What was that last part? Nothing.
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 But I do hope, like, when we find out why he does this, because I'm assuming at some point they're going to find him and he's going to explain why all this happened. He has a good reason, and it's not just, I am evil. I hope there's a good explanation on why he had to do it, and I hope it's probably something along the lines of climate change and the things needed, getting humans off the planet, who are probably the problem.
That's probably something like that. I hope that it is something more than that he's just mustache twirlingly evil. I mean, I don't mind that every now and again if it's done right. Like if you're purposely creating an evil villain for the sake of being evil. Okay, cool. If it fits the story. But when they're just like that because you forgot to develop the character, that's what I don't like. And I hope it's more than that for this guy. Don't go on this huge, I need to save the world and we need to stop global warming only for it to be like, yeah, just, I don't know. I wanted to. Because my first initial thought when I'm watching this, and I was trying very hard not to draw comparisons, but it became difficult for me. My first thought was, oh, it's kind of like Suicide Squad. They're getting together all these, like criminals, and they're, putting together a team in order to go on this mission. In fact, the one guy actually even says, oh, we're like the Avengers, which, okay, close. I know that at this point that's an ancient movie for you. You probably weren't born when it came out, but like, I was like, oh, all right. And then I started noticing with all of the slick movements and the use of like more of a jazzy style music, and the fact that we've got a criminal essentially leading the team. I'm like, oh, okay, so it's just Persona 5 without the magic. All right, that's neat. Well, until magic pill and everything, but I'm like, all right, well, that's okay. I kind of like Persona 5. That'll be good. And then they get into they describe this villain, the guy who created this drug, and now I'm thinking, oh, and I think I might have told you guys about this anime. Did I tell you about Sword Art Online?
I think so, yeah.
Well, essentially, what that one is all these people get stuck in a video game world, and it's one of those, if you die in the video game, you die in real life. It's one of those. And the guy makes it so if somebody attempts to take the virtual reality helmet off of your head, you instantly die. And if you try to log out, you die. So basically, you are stuck in this video game, and he wants people to go up this like 100-level tower in the game and fight the final boss, which is him. And when they're
If
finally
they get
asking, like,
personalized
what did
license plates, do they die?
Do they virtualize license plates?
No, if they get personalized license plates. That was
Yeah,
from
they die.
Suicide Squad. Remember when Harley's like,
Oh, right. That's oh my
you-
god, I forgot all about that. You die. Yes. So it's and so this ends up these people are stuck in there for years. Because they can't get out and they're trying to climb this tower to get to him. And when they finally confront him, they ask him, "What did you do all this for? Why would you trap all these people in here?" And he's like, "I'm just bored." So I swear, if this anime does something as dumb as that, if we end up watching this thing of these people fighting with this timeline, we have 30 days to find this guy and get the cure. And if it's just like, I don't know, I was bored, seemed like a fun thing to do over the weekend. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
they
be
all
like,
called me
okay.
brilliant, but I just wanted to see people die. It's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah, so
it was
I
a
hope they
grand
don't.
experiment to see how the world would react.
Yeah,
knowing they
I
were
wanted to
all
see what
going
would
to
happen,
die.
right? Oh God, that would. I almost okay. If it's like I wanted to run this grand experiment, I think I might respect that more than uh
No, me too. I mean, that it's better than why'd you do it? Sounded like fun. Cool. But yeah, I hope it's something along the lines of, to save the planet, I had to kill off people, and I did it this way because I
Yeah.
gave them 3
Yeah,
years to enjoy themselves, 3 years of, hapna and feeling good and taking away all their pain and everything. But then we had to make a serious change, and to save the planet, unfortunately, some people have to go, and I thought this was the
I
most
do hope.
humane way to take people out.
I like your idea, your theory that, he's not trying to kill everybody. He's just trying to kill enough to where the polar ice caps aren't threatened anymore. So I kind of do. I like that. I kind of hope that's what it is.
And then people say, "Oh, this anime is woke. It's talking about climate change."
What's going to happen is that first ice wall is going to fall, and we're going to discover a whole new bunch of continents that go to another ice wall. All right. And then outside that, there's like more land and another ice wall.
All of a
Mark my
sudden,
words.
Atlantis is gonna pop up, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, hey, we're free."
Yeah,
Is
we're the ones who didn't take the drugs, so we're going to be all right with this expanded
is
universe.
King Namor gonna be there?
Who?
No, it's going to be Aquaman.
Sorry, Namor to you,
Aquaman will
Dave.
steer you to safety. Who?
You know him as Namor.
Oh,
That's what his friends
It's
call
it's
him.
going to be Aquaman, and they only listen to Pitbull.
Okay, I'm out. Those are the people
Yeah, I
that
don't
need to
think-
take the hat nut.
And now you
That's
know
what
why Atlantis was sunk.
that is a dystopian world right there with Pitbull. Sorry. I would be like, no, thank you.
Yeah, if I had to choose between death and listening to Pitbull, I would definitely choose death. It would be a much better experience.
I'd last 10 minutes. That's it.
Oh, yeah. Well, guys, should we rate these 2 episodes?
Should we rate them as a unit since we're going to be doing it as a week, or did you want to rate them individually?
I'm
We can
good with
rate
a
them as
unit.
yeah.
Good as a unit. Okay. 1 and 2.
Yeah, show me that unit.
Here.
Oh, we just got taken down off of Twitch for some reason. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, like I said, you can tell this was the same guy as Cowboy Bebop. I hope it turns out just to be just as good. I loved the animation. Like I was saying earlier, it really looked sharp in some spaces, but like Doug said, there were things in the background that were, it was just kind of like, I don't know, to me it was more like the Spider-Man, the Spider-Man universe, the animated universe that they're doing at Sony right now. It's kind of like that. The things that were sharp, and I don't know, I thought it was
Okay.
great. The music was all jazz, all the time, and it was like Cowboy Bebop in that way too. And I love Cowboy Bebop. And this story, I like how they took the first episode and they completely explained the Axel character. I wonder if they'll do that in, focus on a certain character for an entire episode type of thing, like they did in Creature Commandos, type of
Yeah.
thing. I wonder if they do that and still advance the story. That'd be cool. I like the story so far. I mean, yeah, there's holes in it, but maybe they'll get filled in later. Maybe not. Who knows? But so far, it's been better than average, and it's definitely rewatchable because I have rewatched it. So I'm gonna give them 7.5. Very good start.
Yeah, this is definitely, it's off to a good start. Now, there has been some holes, but I'm with Dave. I really enjoyed the animation. I thought it looked great. I dug the soundtrack. I liked the premise of the show a little bit, even if they've kind of had some difficulty in getting these things across. Like, they have some problems down the line that they could write themselves into a corner if this Skinner turns out to just be a mustache twirling villain, it's going to take away a lot from this. If Axel, is just some lunatic, parkour genius and stuff. They got a lot of things that they've set up here. I like the fact that even though it is kind of a ripoff of Suicide Squad, she's gathering. Hirsch is trying to gather the best of the best in each field to kind of put the best team together, and obviously, she has to put those little wristbands on him. I just thought it was kind of funny that they're probably like, we can't say it's a bomb blowing up because they did that in Suicide Squad, so it'll just burn your hand off. I could live without a hand. There's millions of people that live without hands.
It's got to be on the wrist, not in the neck. So.
Yes. So I kind of was like, that's okay. But, overall, it was something, while it had a few holes in it and a few things that I thought they could have done better, it was still very entertaining. Like, I sat and watched this and didn't look at my phone. I was like, okay, let's see where this is going. And, we got just enough to kind of push us down for the next, 11 episodes. I think there's enough story there. So as long as it keeps building on it, I think we're, in for a good show. But these first two were probably, while over average, they weren't great by any means. So I'm going to give them a 6.9. I thought they were good. And depending on how the later shows fill some of the stuff in, it could definitely improve. But, this wasn't, this didn't hook me like Cowboy Bebop and or Death Note did in the first couple episodes. I was completely strung in almost right away. So we'll see how it goes. But interesting premise. I hope they continue to expand and do good things.
So I do agree with that idea. I also thought it was kind of an interesting premise. I like the fact that, they're like, okay, here's the deal. We're basically in like a cyberpunk or Blade Runner style world. It's the future, but, we're not exactly dealing with flying cars and, everything is like we can see where progress has taken place, but a lot of the surrounding areas are still really run down and kind of, crappy looking. The fact that their base of operations is like an old abandoned barber shop and stuff like that. So I like the overall like tone feel of the world that they've created for this, and I kind of like the premise, the fact that each episode so far it seems is going to end with this, however many days that they've got left. So I like that they are creating the sense of urgency, which tells me I hope that this is going to end up, taking itself a bit more serious, which I kind of think would be neat. The fact that you've got these sort of goofy, nonchalant characters that, especially like Axel, who would rather, flip around and do parkour everywhere. It doesn't seem like everybody on this team cares as much. They're more concerned about, I guess, not getting burned by their bracelet. Like, since it doesn't really blow up to my knowledge. But yeah, I'm waiting for them to realize, like, as the clock begins running down, oh, hey, this is going to affect us too. Because as Keith pointed out, they all say, they all mention, they'll raise their hand, yeah, we all took it too. So this affects them as well. And I will say that when we first heard about this, when Dave told us, hey, we had to review this, I remember, looking into it, and I'm like, oh, hey, cool. So it was made by Watanabe, the guy who made Cowboy Bebop. And I'm thinking, all right, well, this is probably going to be pretty good because, other than Cowboy Bebop, he's made a lot of other anime. And pretty much everything that he touches is good. He's a very good storyteller, at least in my limited experience. But as I'm watching this, I was getting more of like I could see where there was some Cowboy Bebop influences kind of bleeding into it, where like we've got the soundtrack, which amazing. I loved it. I love the titles of the episodes. Please keep that coming. But it seemed like at first it was more of like a Suicide Squad with like a synthwave filter put over it. I did not like the animation, and I know that I'm making essentially the same complaint that I made about Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, but the clashing of the 2D animation, which it by itself looked cool. I like how it looked hand-drawn. It looked like it wasn't, done on a computer. It looked like an artist drew the character, so the character models looked good. I loved those. But the world that we're in, with all of the bad CG like buildings and everything, to me it felt like there was a clash. And it's probably going to take me a while to feel it more, but like eventually it did with Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. But right now it is not pretty looking to me. I don't like it. And I think the story is a bit lackluster. And it felt like this was one of those anime where I wouldn't right now, I would not recommend it to anybody unless I told them to watch a couple more episodes. Because in these first two, I'm not hooked yet. It's just not really doing it for me. It's okay. It's not, but it's not great, in my opinion. The fact that we've got this villain who decided that he's playing a big game of hide and seek in order to determine who lives and dies just seems silly. And the fact that the first thing I was thinking of was, oh, it's like the bad guy from Sword Art Online, which also was not exactly the greatest anime. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But right now, I'm not super feeling it. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 because I think it has potential. I hope it has potential, but I don't want to like give it a high rating on the plausibility that it might get better. I actually I want to see it get better. And so, yeah, here's hoping that it hooks me later on. But right now, it's just not really doing it for me.
That's the thing that I was thinking while I was watching this too. Would I recommend this to anybody? And right now, it's not like like I said, a Death Note or a Cowboy Bebop, where I'm like, yeah, you got to watch it. But I've only seen 2 episodes too. Now,
exactly.
Not everything is going to be those 2 top tier things. And I think it did enough for me that even if we weren't reviewing it, I'd probably keep watching it because I'm interested to see how it plays out. But it's got some. It needs a couple gem episodes in there. And the thing you mentioned, I forgot to mention while we were talking about it, when they're all in the barbershop and he goes, okay, who took Hapna? And everyone raised their hands except him at first. And I was like, oh my God, he's never taken it. So he doesn't have to worry about it. And I thought that would be kind of a wild card. Like, I don't need to cure guys. But then I was like, oh, they should have had it that he didn't take it.
Actually, now you got me wondering. Do you think he was lying?
It's a possibility.
No, I think it was more like a yeah, me too type of moment. That's what I thought.
I wasn't sure because I assumed I honestly I thought the same thing you did, Dave, but I don't know, the way Keith just said it just got me thinking. Was he waiting to see and then when he realized he was the odd one out, like I'm wondering if there had been one other person, maybe he would have kept his hand down, but now I'm wondering,
like they might
is he
distrust
lying
him
to
a
them?
little
Maybe
bit.
he hasn't taken it.
They might not trust him as much.
Yeah. Because they're all ticking time bombs. He's not.
Yeah.
If that would be the case.
And
that would be kind of an interesting twist too.
parkour because of taking it. That would be blown out the window.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Well, again, that was just a theory. I don't know if that's actually true.
And the fact
Kinda
that he
hope-
has
I hope both.
888 years behind jail, he's probably been parkouring a little longer than the Hatna.
Oh God,
Or-
imagine just in your little like 8x8 cell, you're just like hopping off the walls.
I was kind of jealous watching him. I'm like, man, I've never been able to do anything that cool. I've really led a terrible life. Unbelievable.
There's this podcast that I used to listen to years ago called God Alpha Movies, and they reviewed a movie that clearly had like a next to nothing budget, and the idea was like the hero character in this movie did parkour, but it was the laziest it was some guy told himself he could do parkour without ever practicing. And so his style of parkour was like easing himself over like a handicapped rail on steps. He'd be like, "Ugh, parkour," and then he'd jump up on top of a park bench and then walk across it and then jump off. Parkour.
Yeah. That's funny. That's another on the Rick and Morty episode, Pickle Rick. He did parkour.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So there's 3 Rick and Morty references just here tonight.
There you go.
And we just got a little bit of the music.
Nice.
I'm really hoping that this does pick up and becomes a
I do
classic,
too.
all-time classic. I haven't read anyone else's reviews. I'm like, I don't want to know anything about this show until I start watching it.
Well,
But
that's
after
just
watching
it. There
it-
doesn't really seem to be that many out there. Like when Dave suggested it, I'm like, actually, that's a genius idea, because nobody is talking about this yet. We could be the pioneers of people talking about it, but it's got me wondering: are people as on the fence as me or as Keith or whatever? Like maybe that's why folks aren't. But I noticed like even the big channels who their only thing is talking anime, I haven't seen them do videos on this, and it
Maybe
has
they're
me a
waiting
bit
for the
surprised.
season to end.
Huh?
Maybe they're waiting for the season to end.
Oh, that could
Oh,
be.
could
I didn't
be,
think
you're
about
right.
that. Yeah, that's a good point.
All right. Well, we'll come back. We'll be back. What is today? Thursday. We'll be back Sunday, talking episodes 3 and 4 of Lazarus. But I wanted to talk about something else. If you gentlemen are game.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, I don't
What do
want
you got?
I don't want to do tangent time. I did the wrong one. Hold on one sec. So we're bringing up the Fantastic Four First Steps
Okay.
little logo, and I'm gonna get out of the Japanese logo too. Just
Get.
There was a test screening of Fantastic Four First Steps
Oh yeah.
And why weren't we there?
because it was a test screening for the layman, Dave, not for professionals like us.
Oh,
But
That makes sense.
some people are like thinking they said, oh, they really want to make sure they get this right after Thunderbolts failed to really generate a huge box office bonanza for them, even though it has been critically praised and easily the best movie of Phase 5. And No Way Home is not in Phase 5, Dave, so you don't gotta give me that.
yeah. I was gonna say when do Phase 5 start?
I'll tell you, sir.
Doctor Strange, right?
Let me get over to it. No, Phase 5 started with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Now, you could argue Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was the best movie of Phase 5. But,
That's true.
between those two, I mean, the other movies we got were The Marvels, Deadpool and Wolverine, which was also great, probably better, Captain America: Brave New World, and Thunderbolts. So, when I say arguably, I'm not saying it is the best, but it was very entertaining. It felt more like the old than the new. Some people think they did this test screening because they really want this to do well, and especially at the box office. But a lot of the people who saw
I would hope they would want it to to do well. I can't imagine.
Oh,
well,
yeah,
like,
crew was
see
like,
if they need
"I
to
hope this
change
bombs."
anything because they got a few minutes to till July 25th or whatever to change it. And a lot of the people were like, it was good. It was no one was like, I'm totally blown away. But the one thing that most of them were saying, and this is shocking to me,
Okay.
they said the post-credit scenes will make $1 billion for this movie alone.
What?
And I'm like, okay, we're getting some crazy, tremendous post-credit scenes. I can't imagine what they would be that someone would say. Like, a lot of people do think that the reason the first Captain Marvel made $1 billion, even though it was a good movie, is because of the Avengers post-credit scene. Like, people wanted to see that. And I'm like, well, I guess I would go see a movie for a post-credit scene. I usually don't. But I'm like, oh, man. And nothing was spilled on what actually happens in the post-credit scene. So
Okay.
it'll be interesting to see
Yeah.
what. And they said scenes, so it sounds like there's definitely multiple.
All right.
And I'm assuming
Well, that
I'm
has to be
guessing
worried
they were directed by the Russo brothers. That's what I'll be guessing. That
At least
the
one
two
of them,
after
yes.
credit scenes were-
Okay.
Yeah. And one of them involves Doomsday, obviously.
Sure.
I'm not sure about what would the other one would be.
it may just
At
be
least one.
maybe them landing in the 616 because we saw their ship at the end of the Thunderbolt, so it could be them landing and
That would be like, yeah, like a double after credit scene. Like 2 movies in a row had an after credit scene concerning the same scene.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
But I do think 100% after hearing that, we will see Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom for the first time in Fantastic Four First Steps. And maybe we do. It has been rumored that Chris Evans filmed a scene as Hydra Cap in this. So maybe it's, a couple of the original Avengers coming back as their darker halves. Maybe we get ScarJo as like some evil Black Widow. I guess she was, well. So it'll be interesting to see, but I thought that was kind of interesting take, because a lot of the times, these people in the test screenings, it's all over the place. Some people are like, it's the greatest movie ever, and people are like, it sucked. It wasn't Man of Steel, and things like that. But, for the most part, everyone was like, it's good. No one was like blown away that I saw. But once again, you don't know who they're pulling into these screenings. But the fact that we're all talking about the post-credit scenes, which I do hope it's a good movie. I don't want to see Marvel just become these, we got to do crazy post-credit scenes to get people in the seats again. Make good movies.
There you go.
And then have cool post-credit scenes to fire us up for the future and give us stuff to talk about.
Because that was, when you first told us that, first thing that came in my head, I'm like, well, then I got two concerns about that. First, we know how these studios work. We know their takeaways when it comes to movies, and I don't care which studio you're talking about. Sony, Warner, Disney, they do the same thing. They learn the wrong lesson, and they keep doing it. Look, Sony is a prime example of not learning what they did wrong and just doubling down. And I would hate for some executives at Disney and Marvel to be like, well, if the post-credit scene is what gets everybody talking, screw the movie. We'll just focus on making amazing post-credit scenes. And, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have said, oh, yeah, of course, they would never do that. But now, I could totally see some executives suggesting that, and everybody like, yeah, we should do that.
Yeah, you definitely don't want that. The worst thing they could do is, when studios too start doing test screenings and we got to make huge changes because this audience didn't like it. You don't know who's in the theater. Let the creators do their thing.
Yes.
Don't change it too much. What some, weirdos who didn't have anything to do on a Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. decide what your, billion-dollar movie should be about. So.
Like I have my issues with some of the things that George Lucas does, but nobody can say that he wasn't a creative and that pretty much everything he did was for the love of the art. Yep. The fact that he bankrolled most of his own projects just because he wanted to do it the way that he wanted to do it, for the most part, when it came to movies, it wasn't really about the profit. It was because he had a cool idea and he wanted to put it on screen. And anytime he would make adjustments or changes to, for instance, the Star Wars movies and stuff, he did it with this idea that my art wasn't quite complete. I need to get it to a point where I like it. And I don't see, modern studios doing that anymore. Doing something for the love of, I just want to tell this story and I just want to see this on screen. It's always profit first. And I get that they've got bills to pay. Not everybody can be George Lucas. But, I wish sometimes they would just let the artists do their thing.
And that's the thing. The one lesson every studio should learn is too much studio meddling kills any movie.
Oh, yeah.
So, to stop it. Let these people do what they want to do. If it doesn't get a perfect test screening, who cares? You don't know who's in the theater. You don't know how that's going to affect average moviegoers when it does come out. I mean, how much did we hear? Oh, there was test screenings of Echo and it was terrible, almost unwatchable. And then we watch it, we're like, wow, that was good.
Yeah,
yeah. Who are these people saying it's unwatchable? Hey y'all, I done got the skunk for some roadkill. Hey, you want to come watch this show? It better not be about no women. Women star sucks.
Not only that, she's disabled.
Yeah, sucks twice.
Better not be woke. What does woke mean to you? I don't know, but I'll know when I see it.
Woke means not asleep. You're right.
I'm waiting for somebody to just cut that out of this video, get it plastered all over the internet, and then I'll just be canceled. So
we'll show them the whole clip, Doug, if they try to cancel it. But yeah, Marvel, please Don't start
Don't
listening
learn
to
the-
test screenings. Don't start
Right.
letting studio executives make creative decisions for your movies, because you know what really worked in Deadpool and Wolverine? A lot of dirty jokes. I want Reed Richards to be more like Deadpool. No.
Oh God, that would be the takeaway. I swear, it would be something stupid like that, and it's like, oh no, you learned the wrong lesson. Stop.
Right. If you want a character like Deadpool, put Deadpool in there. Put She-Hulk in there because they can break the fourth wall or whatever. You know, don't destroy another character. Let everybody stay in their own character, please. Please.
And that is one
When
thing
it
that someone
works,
said.
when it works.
One of the quotes was, "This felt like a Fantastic Four comic come to life." And
Okay,
as a
good,
Fantastic Four fan,
good.
I was very happy with that. So
I
let's
hope that
that's
is
true.
actually the case.
And let's hope they didn't listen to some of the other slack-jawed yokels going, we need more. I can't even think of more of the thing.
More
beating people up."
explosions. I just want explosions. And
I don't care. People just need to be running away from explosions and then flying into a lake or something.
Have y'all seen Michael Bay? Too much character development in this film. We need that out and more bombs going off.
It also went too long. If it could just be 10 seconds and also vertical.
I want it to be as long as me tying my shoe, and that's it.
Exactly.
We'll do 9
so-
second segments.
Should I buy the movie tin for this? Popcorn tin.
You should
No.
not.
Okay.
I don't know if you should buy it for Superman either.
You know what they need to make? They need to make for a Superman a popcorn tin with a cape on it. It'd be totally pointless, but I need them to do that.
Have you seen it? I think
No.
it's something like that.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Look
I'm
it
gonna
up.
have to look this up.
Oh yeah, you're looking it up. So
Yeah.
okay.
Superman.
Have you guys heard the theory that Tony Stark was actually Victor Von Doom all along?
Oh God, don't do that. Please.
I
don't do
really hope
that.
that's not true, but I heard that theory today.
I don't want
That better
that
not
to
be the case.
But we're gonna switch the logo there. We're gonna just go back to What Up, Fellow Nerds. Some good news. The showrunner from the
I'm
Penguin.
so sorry.
You found the tin, didn't you?
Oh, this is funny. It's his shorts. This
Oh,
is
for
great.
Superman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Keith. I just thought that was hilarious. That's awesome.
But no, this is potentially good news. Hopefully,
Okay.
the showrunner from the Penguin
Uh-huh.
says they're discussing ideas and trying to figure out a way to get a season 2.
Really?
And
I thought you were going to go a different way with that, but go ahead. Well, I'll finish.
No, go, because that's all I got.
I-
They
Oh,
just
that's
said they were interviewing him. and he
I
just
hope you're
basically
thinking
said,
what I was. Go ahead, Dave.
I also read that they're developing a Catwoman show
Okay.
for the
I'd be
same
down for
time
that.
period.
I did
And,
see that
I
they're
thought that
discussing other
Yeah, I thought
other spin-offs, but he didn't get into specifics, and I think people started trying to guess what those would be post him saying.
I think I would be more okay with another spinoff. The way the Penguin ended felt like the perfect door closing on that series. I mean, you basically watched him evolve into comic book Penguin. You saw how ruthless he could be, how weird he could be. And I don't know. I don't know what you would do with a second season. Like there's no more character development for him. He's now evolved into his final Penguin form. Like I don't know. I don't know
And
what
with the-
more you could do.
Seeing the bat signal up in the air, kind of signaling that this is kind of leading
Yeah.
into two. I kind of
Leads
agree
into
with
the
you.
movie.
And once again,
yeah.
discussing what the plans could be. If they have a great idea and they're like, you know what, this could work, then
Yeah,
hopefully they
I
do
guess.
it. But if they don't come up with a good idea, don't do it just because the first season was so good. Don't taint that first season by doing it more.
But again, this would be a studio learning the wrong lesson. They're looking at Penguin and that it did good numbers. So in their mind, it's not that we need to make a show as good as this. We just need to make this show again. And it's like, but see, you're taking away the wrong lesson again.
They always do.
So I do hope that that's just a rumor. I hope that
it's not a rumor. The showrunner said they were discussing ideas of what it could be. So nothing has been confirmed to be it, but they're seeing if anything will work.
Is it under Matt Reeves' control?
Yes.
I know. Okay, so if it's under Matt Reeves' control and they decide to go ahead with it, I would have faith that it would be good.
But you're right. They could do a Catwoman one. They could do.
I would be more interested in that. I would want to see, like Riddler get out of Arkham. I would want to see, Catwoman, being still doing crimes around Gotham and stuff like that. I want to see more of these characters living in and around Gotham, and I kind of like the fact that there were Batman references without him being in it. Because watching Penguin felt very much like watching it was this little piece of other people living in this larger world without all of the magic and crap. So, like, in Andor, we don't have any space wizards or anything like that. In Penguin, we didn't have Batman. We just had, like, all of the crime going on. And I like that. I really like that idea. So I hope, again, that that's the lesson they take away from this. And they realize that's what made this show good, and just give us more spin-offs. I'm totally down for that. Like, whatever happened with that Gotham PD show, did that get canceled?
It did.
I kind of figured.
Not moving forward. But the other spin-off that people were talking about that they think could happen, once again, this has not been confirmed by anybody, but speculation after he said multiple spin-offs are being talked about, was a Harvey Dent legal drama.
I'd be down for that too.
Yeah.
That sounds like it might be good.
I would be all on board with that.
Yeah.
You'd have to sell me on that one. I have to see a preview or something. And then I might not even like it, but it still could turn out like Andor. So.
No, true. Once again, if they're going to do a legal drama, do it well. And have it set in Gotham and do all the cool stuff that we would hope to see. Maybe even see him slowly,
Watch the showrunner for Harvey Dent PI or whatever, Harvey Dent attorney at law. He's going to be like, did we have a lawyer on set? No. Do I know what lawyers do? Also no. Did I once watch a lawyer commercial? Also no.
Did you watch LA Law? No, I didn't know.
Did I ask ChatGPT what a lawyer is? Yes. But I didn't read it all.
Oh, I almost forgot too. One of the other comments from the Fantastic Four thing was that Galactus is absolutely menacing.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad that they retroactively went in and changed him back into a cloud, because that's the only way that anyone would have found him to be menacing. So I'm glad they did that. They listened to the true fans like me.
Yeah, they had a test screening for Doug, and Doug said, "I don't like this giant purple dude. Please make him a giant cloud again." And they said, "Done, sir. We'll get that done."
Everybody knows
a purple cloud that has purple rain.
I only want to see you laughing.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, I really hope this is rain coming out of that evil cloud. It's not.
Gross.
Just end us now. Eat the world.
They say 10% of the ocean is whale stuff, if you know what I mean. That's why I don't swim in the ocean.
Keith is now thinking to the amount of gallons of ocean water that he's drank.
I'll be right back. They don't get close enough to shore, right?
Well, they do wash up on shore pretty frequently, so...
Oh, no. Well, gentlemen, should we find somebody to raid?
I think
all
we
right.
should. I think we should.
Do you?
Let's see. We've got a couple of our favorites on. Let's see, Slayers is on.
And it is
like
Slaya's 3-year anniversary of getting partner.
really.
Yep.
Oh, well,
Okay.
let's join her then.
I think
That's
we
the perfect
should.
reason.
I think we should. That's a good idea.
We'll get that
By
set
the way,
up.
just getting to follow her on Twitch.
Oh, I did, yeah, 488.
Oh, nice. So for everybody out there wondering what we are getting ready to do, what we're doing here on Twitch, it's called Rating a Channel. It is where we take all of you lovely viewers that are watching us live on Twitch, we gather you all up and we take you over to another channel, usually a friend of the channel. In this case, we are dropping you off at Slaya's. And we're going to see what she's up to. Now, for those of you that are watching us live on YouTube, or, watching us retroactively after the fact, obviously there isn't quite a way to do something similar on YouTube. I mean, there kind of is. It's just dumb, and we're not playing that game because it's very clunky. So, in the meantime, if you are watching us on YouTube, please, find that subscribe button. Go ahead and give it a smash if you haven't already. Like us, share it with your friends, and definitely get in those comments down below. And of course, as always, we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo. Hey fellow nerds, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.